Hey everyone, we are the Gratitude Girls.
The Gratitude Girls are in the house. My name is Kathryn Asaro Myers, affectionately known as RaRa, and I'm here with my awesome partner, Laurie Delk. Hi, Laurie.
Hi Kathryn, how are you?
I am great. I am looking at your bling tonight, and I want to get a close-up of that. What is that? Where is that from? Tell me about it.
This is Heidi Doss, one of my favorite jewelry designers. So I have bracelets and ring and earrings all to match.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah,
It
hot pink
really
and purple.
so well. And what are those stones or enamel? What are those?
Yeah, they're just gemstones. Yeah, but it's different shades of. There's pinks and purples and blues
Love
in it.
it.
I think that's about all the colors.
Gratitude Girls accessory. I'm sporting origami.
Nice.
Take a look at that. But let me tell you, yours looks amazing. It looks awesome. I love it. So let's talk to our audience tonight and tell them where we are. So for those of you who are tuning in, we always like to do a little girl bling check because that's just the thing that catches our eye. So I'm sitting here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada tonight, and it's beautiful. It's a great day here. So we have an international Gratitude Girls show because Laurie, you're in the United States. You're actually sitting in a chair in the United States tonight. That's awesome. You're not on a plane with the suitcase in your hand.
Not this time. I will be in 2 days, but yeah. So I'm at home in Nashville today, and next month I'll be in Iceland at this time.
Oh, isn't that nice? We'll have a chili show, won't we?
That's right.
You know, I love that we have our dream coming true right in front of us, as we've discussed from 2013. How we want to travel the world and travel the world together and do our show from different places. And we said that the day we met, and we didn't know how that was going to happen because we didn't need to know. We just knew that that was what we felt. And here we are. And for those of our audience who they don't know us, they don't really know why we're here. What are the Gratitude Girls? What are you Gratitude Girls doing? Maybe we could tell them the story about how we met and why we're here. Would you like to do that?
Sure. Yeah. So Kathryn and I are both a part of a direct sales company called Send Out Cards. And every year at our company international convention, there's a theme for the year. And at the convention, there is one person that wins an award for whatever that theme was. So back in 2013, the year theme was gratitude. And so I was there and I was ready to take pictures and video, and our CEO was announcing all the accolades and stuff about the person who was going to win that award. And then he called her up on stage, and that was Kathryn. And then he ended up talking a little bit more, and he said, for the first time ever, and I'm pretty sure it's been the first time ever since then too, he said that there was a tie. So, and then he ended up calling my name. And so I was excited. I was surprised. And so Kathryn and I actually are cross-lined to each other in that company, and we met on stage in front of thousands of people. And
I remember that.
But we, kind of like how, like they say, love at first sight in a relationship. Well, this was like a business friendship relationship. And we knew that something was meant to be. We both know that there's no coincidences. There's always a reason for everything. And we decided to do something with it. And me, with all the marketing and branding I checked, and Gratitude Girls was available, and I bought the domain right there, right after we got off stage, within like 2 minutes. And Gratitude Girls was born. And then we figured out what we were going to do later.
And Laurie, I remember when your name was called. First of all, I remember my knees shaking going up there because that was part of my I am statements. And when I heard that there was a tie and I heard it was you, I thought, Laurie Delk, I couldn't wait to meet you. And I didn't know it would be there on stage, but I had heard so many wonderful things about you. And you know that I'm going to talk about this, that you had given the most gifts of anyone in our company, because this is a greeting card and gifting company. It's a personal growth company, and we have the ability to send gifts. And when I heard that information about Laurie, I heard it prior to that convention. I thought, what would it be like to receive a gift from Laurie? Because if Laurie sends more gifts than anyone in the company, what is she thinking? What would that be like? How would that feel? And of course, I meet Laurie, and I've never said this on the show. And what is the first thing she does? She gives me a gift. You gave me a stuffed animal eagle. And there was Laurie, and I was wondering, what would that be like? What would it feel like? And you did that. You gave me my first gift. I had been thinking about it, and there you were, and there was that moment, that feeling, that instant. We knew that we had that first sight connection. That wasn't a fleeting moment. We walked down the stage, we held hands, and that was the moment, right? It continued. And here we are with our platform of the Gratitude Girls, and our initial intention has never changed. It was exactly as it was that moment that we met, a way to share gratitude and for other people to share gratitude, because we felt that we were somehow the catalyst for that, to be able to bring forth a way and a place for others, not to share gratitude because it was on our mind, but because we were both up there for that reason. You know, we could have had many other ideas, but standing there together in the spotlight of a gratitude award just made so much sense. And here we are 7 years later, every month, month after month, hosting a show. Come rain or come shine, come Easter, Easter, Christmas, New Year's, whatever, birthdays. Our show is once a month, no matter what. And this says something to me for all these years, because I myself know how I feel and I know how you feel, but our audience doesn't know how we feel until they can see us for 7 years and say, wow, you must really feel strongly about that. And this means so much to me. I want to thank you for stepping on that stage and being who you are and being the friend and the family member that you are to me, because Gratitude Girls is a part of my DNA.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And yes, thank you. Same back to you. I mean, that's it. It takes dedication, right? I mean, 7 years, every single month. We're here.
Yes, no matter what happens 2 minutes before this camera goes live, we are here. Now, there's that little laugh. You might want to ask us, what happens 2 minutes before you go live? Well, that's another show. But what we have tonight is we have a really great show for you. And Laurie, would you like to do the honors and introduce our guest so we can speak with her?
Yes, absolutely. So our guest tonight is one of my personal, very close friends, as well as business partners. And she has spoken for me at several of my events that I've put on all over Middle Tennessee, many different times, speaking to all my business clients. And she is just an amazing speaker. She also owns Girlfriday Business Solutions. So it's like a team of virtual assistants. You need anything in your business, she has people to take care of it for you. She is also a best-selling author of a book called A Lady in Waiting. And so that is an amazing book. She and I have talked about that, lots of our journey of our life throughout things. And then she also has Wowzers. It's tips to wow. And then she also has one called Influence and Command Your Life. So I am so excited to have Miss Takisha Bromell. Welcome, Takisha.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited. I didn't know that that you have been doing this for 7 years. When you said, Takisha, I want you to come on, I was super excited because you know how much I love you. But I had no idea that takes a whole lot of love and a perseverance to do that for 7 years. So I give you, the two of you, kudos. That is amazing.
Thank you, Takisha. We're so happy that you're here with us. This is amazing. I'm honored to be in your presence. Look at all those things that you've done. Before we start to talk about the accolades and the wonderful things that you've done, can we talk about the wonderful day you've had? What was today like for you, aside from being here with us?
It was absolutely really busy. I had to get up really early for an event. and I was sponsoring a real estate event, and so that was absolutely amazing. We gave these really great gifts away to real estate agents, and so I was kind of like in my element. So I love being out and about and sharing information about Girl Friday and what we do. So it was like the perfect day, I would say, to get out there and talk about it. Yeah.
And you're in Tennessee as well?
I am in Tennessee, yes. Hmm.
Okay, awesome. That's great. That's fantastic. So what are some of the things that lift you up? Like, you're busy, right? You do a lot of things. You've done a lot of things. What happens when you start your day? Is there something that you do a ritual that you do that brings you right to where you need to be?
I love I have like these things on my wall, and they're like these little let me pull one off. And so I have like these little things on my wall, and I love greater is he that is within me than he that is within the world. There's another one right here that says, the Lord turn his face toward me and give me peace. And so I look at these things that I have on my wall, and they mean so much to me. I always want to kind of like ground myself in taking time to understand where God is in my life and where I am at. And if I'm not where he is, how do I get, how do I run and get to where he is? And it's because, so I take time in the morning to kind of like wait for a moment and just kind of like figure out where I'm at and trying to get to him, wherever I feel like he is.
Yes, thank
And
you.
the
Thank
awesome
you.
thing is that God never, he never, uh-huh. Can you hear me?
Yes, go
Are
ahead.
you able to hear me? Okay. So what I was saying is that I feel like he is like I never can approach him the same way every day. Like it's always something new, and it should be. If in any relationship, when you connect with someone, you're not going to just say hello, the same way every day. I think that you have to learn the love language of the people that you're around, and be able to kind of express yourself in different ways. So for me, it's always like, okay, where's my heart at, and how do I ground it back to the source?
Mm. Yes, I was thinking, I was reading this, and it's really important. Everybody walks around with these things in their hand.
Mm.
Do you take your phone first thing in the morning? What is the first thing that you do to ground yourself?
Hmm. Usually, okay, so I'm a snoozer. And one day I'm going to write this book that has been on my mind for forever. You snooze, you lose, because I do know that I have snoozed a little bit more than I should. So usually my phone is right beside on the side of my bed, and I'm like progressively wake myself up. And as I'm progressively waking myself up, I am praying and thanking God for for this day. And then I kind of like snooze a little bit, and I kind of like wake myself up. So I think my ritual is like an hour of snoozing and praying. Then I'll check my phone, and then I'll snooze a little bit more, and then I'll finally get up. Then I usually come out here, and I'll start looking at um, my scriptures or whatever I have on my wall, and I start to do my affirmations and affirming myself, and saying who I am and who I believe I am and what I'm going to attract and what's going to come into my life. So it's usually like an hour of all of that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I totally love that. And then you talked about, well, you have so many things that you have done that are amazing. Let me
Mhm.
ask you, what is the one, like, you talk about all of them, but what's the one thing that you had your hands in today that you were working on that you want to be able to share with us, something that you're grateful for that you're doing? Pick an initiative, or maybe you touched on three of them today, but curious what you had your hands in today that's really right at the forefront of your mind and your heart.
It's my team. I absolutely love my team. And so today, okay, now this is going to I'm going to take you around the bend for a moment, but
Okay.
okay, but today, we were at an event and there was a problem with one of we had a slide and I was talking about what I do. And, there was a mistake on the slide. And I remember saying, oh my gosh, there's a mistake on my side. Okay, so now I'm an INTJ, so there's something called perfectionism that that I have an issue with. But so I was hot for a moment. I was like, okay, I cannot believe that that we had this mistake on the slide. It got past, it got past us. And so I was like, okay, when I was hot and bothered, I was ready to, I'm like, okay, when I talk to my assistant, it's going to be gangbusters, right? I mean, whatever. I'm upset.
Yeah.
But what I love about me is that although I'm hot for a moment, I'm always thinking about other people. Like, okay, so I haven't talked to her at all yet. And I knew that I needed to have time because you can wound people. And so I think one of the things that I'm grateful about is, so I'm talking to my other assistant that was with me today, and she's like, have you talked to this other person yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't talked to him. She said, well, I'm surprised. She said, I thought you were gonna call and go off. And I said, no, I don't do that. Maybe like some years ago, I would have done that. But I've grown so much in love for my team, in love for and being entrusted with the people that I have on my team. I'm entrusted with them. And they
Yes.
do an amazing job. And we all fall short. None of us are perfect. And so I was happy and thoughtful and excited that I was sitting on my couch talking to my other assistant and saying, that's not how I run this business. That I'm going to run this business with the thought that everyone has, that we all make mistakes, that we're never going to be perfect, but on top of all of that, with love and respect for the people that work for me.
Yes.
And that person, my assistant, that person was surprised because she had expected what she had seen 1,000 times before with someone, fussing someone out about it.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, we live these lives where we don't have to. We can be considerate. We can consider the person that we're about to talk to, know that it could bruise them and hurt them,
Mm-hmm.
and do things the right way. So today for me, it was somewhat a pat on the back that for me that I'm doing the right things, that my heart is in the
Yes.
right place, that I'm thinking about the people that work for me, and that I'm not taking that for granted. And that there are so many other crazy things that are happening in the world. So,
Yes.
okay, so what, a word was spelled wrong on a PowerPoint, it will be, it will happen again, okay? And I will be the one to do it. Okay, so and all in all, the world is still. The world is still round. Okay, there's still all of this stuff going on, and you know what? Um, I'm okay. So sometimes you have to back off of who you are or your perfectionism, which is my personality, and say it's okay. So today was a good day. I enjoyed my time. I had a great time. I have I'm living the life that I've always dreamed of, which is to be able to get out there and do that kind of stuff and enjoy my life.
And what did you speak about, may I ask?
Well, okay, so we were talking. I didn't actually do the speaking this time, which is kind of, I know Laurie is like, what? Okay. I was just supporting and actually facilitating the meeting. So we had two people that talked a little bit about how to get your financial house in order for real estate agents.
Mm-hmm.
And so they spoke on that. There were CE credits that they received or whatever, but I kind of facilitated, introduced the people and all of that. So I was more of a, and so I was more of a MC today.
I get that. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Laurie, I just want to double check, give our audio a second to just connect here. Do you have any questions? And if you do, yes, if you do, I will mute myself. I just want to make sure that the audio is good on both ends.
Yeah, so Takisha, I
Yeah.
want you to tell us a little bit about, so I know about the Lady in Waiting book, but our audience probably doesn't. So I would love for you to talk just a little bit about that. But then I also want to know more about the Influence and Command Your Life part.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, A Lady in Waiting, that was my first book, and a joy. I wrote most of that book within 72 hours. I feel like um, there was some situations that were going on in my life, and I was wrestling with God. And Laurie, we are both single, and and we've talked about this a lot. It is very easy sometimes to get when you're waiting on something. And I really want to talk about that. The book, although I'm talking about waiting on divorce and then going through the process um, of dealing with that, I thought that I was ready to be in a relationship again. And now, over time, I've realized that the years that I thought that I was ready, I'm sure I was not. Okay, I had some healing to do, some things to happen that I needed to happen in my life. But at that time, that's what I wanted, and I wanted what I wanted, how I wanted it, when I wanted it. And when it didn't agree with my plan, me and God, we wrestled a lot. And so the book was really therapeutic in that it helped me, obviously realize that I wasn't ready, but also see the mistakes or the things that I could have done better, or to look at things from a different perspective and understand that there's a process to everything. And I hadn't fully completed the process, but I wanted to get off the healing wheel and do whatever I wanted to do. So that A Lady in Waiting was kind of like from that standpoint that, and then I realized through the book that there is a purpose in waiting and that it's okay to do that. And I know that it's hard sometimes and everything, but at the end of the day, I realized that God at the time that I was writing the book, God was enough. And even today, He's more than enough to get me through the moments that I have where I desire to be remarried. And then I wrote my second book shortly after that. Like maybe a year or so later, I wrote a book called Wowzer. And Wowzer, it is 12 tips of how to wow and then influence your life. So it's really just all of that is one book. Wowzer, I wrote that my father was in the hospital, and I think that sometimes you just go through these times in your life where you need an escape, and that book started to come similarly to A Lady in Waiting. It was like maybe within 72 hours, I had a lot of the book already written, and and I had a kind of play on words because Wowzer, when I first started to think about what Wowzer was, I was like, what is a Wowzer? I took myself out for breakfast, and I'm like, Wowzer, what is a Wowzer? So I go and I look, and the definition that I found was a killjoy. And I was like, I'm going to kill this idea right now. It's what I'm going to do. I mean, like, really, girl? I mean, what are you doing? But I said, wowzer. How do you wow your industry? When you think about people that are out there that are killing it, they're doing it every day, they're getting up. Who are you, for example? I mean, you're killing it every day, you're living your best life. Like, what does that look like? What are the principles? What are the things that you're taking with you and the things that you're using to do that? And what I realized, like one of the things that I talk about in is that, 1 plus 1 does not equal 2 for a wowzer. And if we are exponential thinkers, we're always thinking outside of the box. We're thinking big thoughts and big ideas. And sometimes, and I also say that if you can't wow yourself, like if you are coming up with an idea and you're not wowed, you need to go back to the drawing board. You're not a wowser yet, or whatever. Because I have great ideas, I have great thoughts, and they're sometimes big, and I'm like, wow, how amazing is that? And I just believe that wowzers are able to command and influence people, industries, and all of those things. And so Wowzer was that business book that I didn't know was going to come. I thought that the business book would come first. The relationship book came first, and then Wowzer just popped out as well. And it has been an amazing ride to look at people and then look at my book and say, wow, yes, that's a Wowzer, because look at all the things that they're doing. Laurie, a good example is like I do speaking engagements. I spoke at your event one day. I'm at your event and I get in a car accident outside of the event. Do you remember that? I'm
I do.
sitting there and I'm like, yes. So, okay. So a wowzer at that moment, I didn't know what to do. And I remember saying, okay, you got to suck it up, buttercup. You have to get up and go in there and you have to do the speech no matter what. So I go in and I start to execute what I do when I need to ground myself. And so a wowzer knows how to ground themselves. They know how to go into where they were the last time they killed it. And then they bring that to the forefront. They're able to take that to take that feeling that they experienced when they were at the top, the top performance, and then take it and then go out and speak. No one ever knowing that I was just in an accident. My nerves were all over the place. They had no idea. And it wasn't until after I spoke and I said, well, okay, now I need to go and see about this car. That people knew that that I had an issue or whatever. And that is what a wowzer does, is they command, and they perform, and they show themselves over and over again to be strong in the most difficult situations.
That's a
Yeah.
perfect example. Yes, I do. I remember that day, and I was amazed at how you did. You because I did know ahead of time, and nobody else in the room knew, but you did tell me, and and you were just like, show must go on. Let's go.
The show must go on. And then I was like, okay, the show is off now. I can go and take care of this and make sure that whoever I had to go and find the person that I hit. I hit their car. They had no idea. So yeah, that was like a whole nother thing there. But yes, I mean, you just have to be able to do what you say that you're going to do. Another example is, Laura, I don't know if you remember this. I forgot one of your events. And you called me and said, hey, it's today. And I drove like a bat out of you know who. And to get to that event, I get there and I'm like, oh my goodness. And it's like on the other side of town. And I get there just in time to speak. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So again, being, working under pressure is an awesome thing. Being able to perform under pressure is amazing.
Can I ask you a question? Because you
Yeah.
said something that I would like our audience to be able to do. You said you go back to the moment, a wowzer is someone who goes back to the moment, the last time that they were killing it, crushing it. So let's walk our audience through that. And they say, well, I can't, I'm upset. Yeah, I just found out that my check bounced, or I just found out that my dog ran away, or I just found out that my child ran away. It's like, I can't believe it. I go home and, there's nobody there. And now you're saying to go and bring back that moment. And someone watching might say, I can't do that. So let's talk about how they go and actually grab that moment or embrace that moment and bring it back, bring them there so they can go on. Can you give us a little bit of an example of that? Okay, thank you.
So you're thinking about, and it doesn't have to, it could be a moment, it could be a song, whatever is going to, because there are some songs that take you there, that will bring you out of the worst funk you've ever been in. You know what I'm saying? Where you are just
Yeah.
emotionally whatever. There's a song by Katy Perry, and it's called Rise. And that song does something to me. Then there's this other song called Win, Win, Win. It's a rap song or something. All I do is win. And so whatever, it could be a song, it could be a situation, whatever is something that gets you amped up is where you want to go to, right? But okay, so what you really do is you're channeling that. And I don't know, like, how I channel it with my legs. Like I tap my legs. Some people may do something totally different, but what you're doing is kind of like bringing yourself back to that place where
Mhm.
you were killing it, or a song that will bring you out. There's always something that brings you out of whatever you are, if you could just channel into that. And so you channel into it, and then you tap your legs, and then you start to feel that emotion. What you're trying to do is bring that emotion in to the
Yes.
situation. But in order to do that, you have to focus in on that particular song or that situation, and then you just tap your legs, and then you get there. And then you start to
Mhm.
feel that situation.
I think I lost
I'm
you there,
starting to
Chris.
feel that in my body.
Mhm.
I'm feeling that now. And so as I'm feeling it at this moment. And so I start to feel it, I tap into it, and then I just receive that energy. It's like your body, your mind, your heart, and your soul are these open vessels. You can take on the
Yes.
negativity of the situation or the positivity of the situation. You get to choose. The awesome thing is you get to choose what you want to. But I can feel the presence at this very moment as we're talking. And
So you
what you're
tap
going to
into
be
this.
doing is bringing that in. You tap into it.
Mhm.
And then once you
Okay.
tap into it, you feel it. You're kind of like tapping your
Yes.
legs, and you're feeling it and saying, okay, I'm ready. And I know this is not anything I created. I believe that this comes from Tony Robbins. I believe,
Okay.
but because I think he talks about it. But I do know that a lot of speakers do it in order to get the energy that is in
Mm.
the universe onto them, from their past experiences or from music. Music is one of those things that does it as well.
Yes. Yes. So are you going in for your superpower?
You're going into that thing that it is what it is your zone. It's like in the
Yes.
zone. A good example is, like, okay, like, how you hear about people that are like maybe artistic, how they
Yeah.
will get into a zone and they can draw for days. Like, they can get into a this psyche, this place,
Yes.
of receiving, or taking, or kind of like receiving, but also distributing what they're the best at. It is you using your best self. It is
Right.
what you're called to do. And so, like, I rarely get nervous anymore when I get up to speak, but that's also because I know that that is a calling for me, that
Yes.
is something I'm supposed to be doing. So I always channel and am able to go, even in the times when I feel a little jittery, I'm able to go back to even to scripture and say, you know what, I know that you called me to do this. And so you're
Yes.
going to give me the strength and the energy to do it. And not only that, you've given me the strength and energy to give a good word, something that is going to change the lives
Yes.
of the people that I'm wanting to talk to, that you called me to talk to. So if I can just release and remove the feeling that I'm not good enough, that I have, that I'm not enough, if I can release all of that pent up energy that says those things, and take on all the glory that you've given me. You said that I am a royal priesthood. You said that I am the head and not the tail, that I'm above and not beneath, that I'm all these beautiful things. You've said this about me. And if I'm going to say that about myself, then it gives me the energy to get up, and regardless to how I feel about myself at that moment, because you do know that there's an enemy out there that's saying to you that you're not all these things right before you get up to speak, right before you get up to whatever. You have fought a good fight overnight, because
Yes.
the night before, the enemy is telling you that you're not any of these things. And you have to get up and go anyway and say, you know what? I'm going to do it afraid. I'm going to do it regardless. I know that I have the wealth and the blessings on me, and I'm
Yes.
going to go anyway. I'm going to do
Yes.
it anyway.
You've given great examples for our audience to go right into that moment. I love that. Go right into the moment, and they can do that. Now, let me ask you if you would be okay with this. I would like to give the show, we would like to give the show over to you for a few minutes, and then see if you would like to ask Laurie and I a question, identify who you're asking the question, whether it's the same one or not, and then we'd like to answer.
Okay, let me see. Because it's funny, we were talking about just being open to the experience and seeing what would the question that would come forth. And I think the question that I have for you is, um, well, it's a statement of what I said earlier, and then it's like, how do you continue 7 years? Like that to me is absolutely amazing. But it allows you to show your persistence and show who you are. So, what is the most difficult thing that you feel like is very difficult about what you do here? Is there anything that you feel like, wow, like, I have to raise myself or kind of like overcome something a lot in order to, and be selfless a lot in order to do this? So, I would ask you, what are the things that what's hard about it, and then what keeps you going?
Who are you asking first?
You can go first since we're talking.
Okay, so what's hard about it, and then what keeps you going? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't really feel anything is hard because I feel this is very organic. But if I were to think about something, I would always want to make sure that our guests have the sacred space, the feeling that this is a sacred space for them to open up. So I want to make sure that I clear the path, the room, the energy for them to come in and step in and open up. So I don't find that hard, but I know that I'm conscious because each guest brings with them a different set of emotions and different lives and different experiences. So I want to make sure that when the guest is here, the guest feels that this is my space, my place, my sacred space to open up and to speak. And then you said, how do I deal with it? And then what I do, and Laurie and I do things together, but I'll answer for me, is I focus on the guest. I focus on what is in their mind as if I am them looking out. So I can be that person looking through their eyes. And that's what I do. And if I feel something, then I'm feeling it as they would feel it, not how I would feel it on this end, like we're producing and co-producing and we're editing this show. This is not how I see it. I see it as the guest, how they feel, because this is for them. And this has been our mission from day one. I hope I answered your question.
That's good. Laurie?
All right. So for me, I will say the same thing. I don't think anything is really ever hard. It's something that we committed to do 7 years ago. And I feel like it's kind of like, like in a relationship, when you commit to a marriage, there might be things that come up, but you still commit to it. Right. And it's not hard to keep that commitment. Right. And so that, I think that's, just a part of the integrity space, So, but now with that, we all have lives, right? And so things do come up, and, and so sometimes, like what Kathryn said earlier, 2 minutes before the show goes live, you never know, because we might be doing some extra breathing or extra meditating or whatever to prepare ourselves for, the public eye. And so, everybody has things that go on in their life, right? And so, but the same thing, like you said earlier, and like my book, we all have choices. We all are going to go through stuff, but we have choices on how we react or act to those situations. And so, but that's it. We decided to do this. So it's the dedication thing and the commitment of we are doing it no matter what, every single month, even on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day night, we still have our show. And so, so that, and then I forgot what was the second part.
How do you deal with it?
How do you deal with it? Okay. Yeah, that's right. So, and the same thing, how do I deal with it is just that, I decided to do it. I decided to be dedicated and committed to showing up, to being here. And that just, we felt like that's our purpose and our, our plan for the Gratitude Girls as a company to show up and be who we are.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great answer, Laurie. Thank you for that. Thank you for that question. I would like to ask you, I don't want to call it the final question, but I'd like to ask you a question to wrap up the show. Is there someone that you would like to discuss your gratitude for? Is there someone or something that you're grateful for or to that you would like to mention? And if you are not comfortable mentioning that, then you let us know. But we'd love for you to be able to bring an emotion or someone into the space so that we could share that gratitude along with you.
I would start with my father. He has taught me so much about love and also how to release love. A couple years ago, he was in the hospital and he had 2 brain surgeries. And I actually thought that he was very close to dying. I was very worried about that. My mother had passed on a few years ago. And so having him in my life and being an only child, I was not quite ready to let him go. And I remember being in the hospital and I was down, he was upstairs and he had this first surgery. And I was downstairs and I was in the chapel and I was just crying. I mean, I was just like I felt like I was losing him. And and so I felt like God's presence. And there was a scripture that came to my mind, and the scripture was of the 2 women that were at the tomb, and they were looking for Jesus and couldn't find him. And so they were worried, and the angel came and said, "Why are you looking for the living among the dead?" And as they were saying that to him, I felt God was saying to me, why are you're down here mourning your father, and your father's upstairs, and he's alive. He is not dead. And get upstairs and enjoy him while you have him. And I remember saying, like, what'd you say, God? What did you just say? And he was just like, go upstairs and enjoy your father. You are mourning him and he's living. Like, why are you looking for the living among the dead? He's living upstairs and you're downstairs crying like he's gone. Stop acting it out. Stop acting out his death and he's living. And so I dried my tears. I went upstairs and I enjoyed my father. My father is still living. What I learned from that process was that whatever happened to my father, it was up to him and God. I had no control over it. And so I had to be able to let go of the control that comes my control, because I am a control. I can be a control freak. Let go of the control. Be at peace, and know that even when he leaves, and when he's no longer here, it's gonna be okay. Like, I'm ultimately gonna be okay, and the decision for that to happen is between him and the Lord. Like, I have no control over it. So enjoy him.
Yes.
Don't be obsessive about it. He lives in a different city than me. I live here. Like, when I don't hear from him, what's going to happen? No. Relax yourself and
Yes.
enjoy him. So being grateful for having him in my life and being able to understand that at the end of the day, if he's here or if he's not, that he's still with me. And so it has helped me free myself from all of the trappings that happen when you're wanting so desperately for someone to be here. You know that at some point they may leave, and it has to be okay. So that is what I'm grateful about. It would be my father, in that I learned a valuable lesson to not project something, but to just enjoy the person while they're here.
That's such a great message. I'm so happy that you have that to share with us. It's a great message for all of us. Laurie, I don't want to look at the time, but I am looking at the time, and I'm just wondering if I want to stay on this show for way longer than we are right now. So hang out with us after. But if I could, Laurie, can we talk to our audience about how can they reach our guest? We'll post everything. Is there anything that you'd like to tell our guests on how they can reach you before we say our parting good evening?
Yes. So I am on, my website is takishabromell.com. And you can
Great.
also find me at info@girlfridaybusinesssolutions.com.
Perfect.
Girl Friday Business Solutions and Takisha Bromell is also on Facebook. So you can find
Awesome.
me on Facebook or also on the web.
Great. We'll have all that in the show notes. So that's fantastic. We have that all posted. Marvelous. Thank you. Thank you so much for being a guest here tonight. I'm so honored to speak with you and to get to know you. And I feel like hanging out with you is just so natural. I have to come over there. I'm coming over there to that part of the world. I have to. Laurie and I are going to do that. Laurie, you're going to put this in my calendar, right? Tonight, tomorrow, we're going to pick a date and we're going to get a bunch of girls together. You want to do that with us?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do that. We'll pick a month where we can just get like 20 or 25 girls together and we'll go do something fun in Nashville, Tennessee. How's that?
Good. That sounds
Okay,
wonderful.
you heard it right here on the Gratitude Girls. Good, we're going to act on that. Thank you. Laurie, for our guests who are listening tonight, and they want to be here and they want to talk to us, how do they do that? Can you give them a tip on how they get on the show?
Yes, absolutely. So go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/gratitudegirls. Right there on the page, there's a button that says message. Click that and send us your gratitude story. Tell us, what you have, what you went through, whatever you're grateful for. Also, leave us your contact information and the best way to get back with you. So that way we can read it, we can go over that, and then we can get back with you and get you on our calendar to be featured on our show. So we do this every single month, the fourth Tuesday night of every month. And it's always 6:30 Pacific and 7:30 Mountain, 8:30 Central, and 9:30 Eastern.
That's awesome. And we are booking the last 3 months of this year. So it's great. We're having a lot of fun reading through the stories. I love the guests that we have on. I love the show that we had tonight. It means so much for so many reasons. We'll talk about it after. Laurie, it's wonderful to be with you. It's wonderful to be a Gratitude Girls with you, or a Gratitude Girl. Am I a Gratitude Girl or am I a Gratitude Girls with you? We're the Gratitude Girls, so I'm that other half of that. It's wonderful to do that. And I want to match colors one night. I want to pick the same color and wear that. I want to do the twosies thing because I'm in black a lot. I notice when I go back and I look at the show, I have 27 black tops that all look the same, But so anyway, thank you so much. This is colorful and you're uplifting, and I love what we did tonight. And these stories mean so much. So from my heart to yours and to our audience, I'm very grateful that you're here, and I look forward to our next Gratitude Girls show next month.
Yes, me too. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Have a great week.
Good night.